Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you're doing well. So we just hit Mythic yesterday with the Mono White Humans list, so it's time to go back to exploring off-meta picks. And today I wanted to take a look at Azorius Artifacts. And Azorius Artifacts has been kind of on everybody's mind, I think, especially for after rotation. So it was really important while doing this to avoid anything that was going away. So all of these cards will be available come August 2nd. There's nothing from Midnight Hunt, Crimson Vow, Neon Dynasty. The downside with this list is that it is primarily all rares and mythics. The only uncommon in the list outside of the lands is Market Gnome. So if we go all the way back to December, week 4 of Lost Caverns of Ixalan, I talked about a Azorius Artifacts list that was built by MTG Pro Bernas Torres. And back then we didn't have all of the tools yet, but they were still able to pilot into a top 3 finish in one of the standard challenges. And so I definitely think that there's something to this archetype, and it may need to wait until rotation for it to really come into fruition. But I do think that it's relatively well positioned. And so basically what we're doing is we're bringing in these 2 copies of the Steel Seraph, and the other artifacts were already included in Bernas Torres' list. And then we're going to be bringing in we're going to be cutting a lot of the spells and taking it into more of a mid-range engine deck instead of strictly control. And so we dropped the 2 copies of the Braided Net, which is the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, allows you to tap and then it can come back and gives you some really good card draw later in the game. I'm going to drop the 2 copies of Depopulate, again taking it in less of a control space. Dropping the 1 copy of Glass Casket, and for the 4 copies of the Spring-Loaded Sawblades. I'm mentioning these changes because if you do have them, they could be an alternative to explore if you're a little bit shy on some of the rares and mythics to make this deck. And then also getting rid of the Iron Crag. Some people like it with the Fabrication Foundry as an additional artifact that helps you ramp. And I'm cutting 1 copy of the Unstable Glyph Bridge on the top end, and bringing in 1 copy of the Assimilation Aegis. This one I think is kind of just a better version of the Glass Casket, and allowing us to, especially if we hit something like this, could be a deck that's better in best of 3. I really haven't piloted it a lot yet, and but this is amazing to hit something like Atraxa on, right? But there's some good targets for Assimilation Aegis, depending on what your opponent's playing. And then 2 copies of the Esoteric Duplicator, and this is the card that we got in Outlaws of Thunder Junction, along with the Simulacrum Synthesizer that really breathed interest back into the Azorius Artifacts archetype. So this, you can create a whole bunch of tokens that are copies of those artifacts. And so this can really help you get just an obscene amount of synthesizers going. And but yeah, and we're going to play 2 copies of Get Lost. I'm personal bias. I really like Get Lost, and from what I have seen, the Azorius Artifacts space is good against control, but struggles against the mono red prowess builds and the Gruul aggro, which is basically the same prowess build. So I think Get Lost is a pretty good option. Definitely thought about whether or not to just bump the Get Losts up to 4. Maybe a way to do this to make it better for best of 1 against all the mono red. But yeah, we're going to bring in the 4 copies of the Simulacrum Synthesizer, and this one is really, I think, the core card of what I was trying to build around. When another artifact with mana value 3 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you create a 0/0 construct artifact with power, gets +1/+1 for each artifact that you control. So you do need to have some more expensive artifacts for the synthesizer to get the trigger going, and but you can do silly things like copying it and getting multiple triggers in 1 turn. And then we got the 2 steps of the two copies of the 3 steps ahead, and this one being a counter spell, but also being able to copy a target artifact that you control. So for 4, we can make another Simulacrum Synthesizer, and really, I think there's a debate about how much blue to run, how much white to run, because yeah, this card being better for the engine, but worse against the mono red matchup. And as far as the lands go, I did tweak the lands from Burnosaurus's list, dropping 1 a Darker Waste and the 4 copies of the Demolition Field, because again, going not into as much of a control space, and dropping the Agonjo and the Otawara, largely just because I want to explore how this deck is going to be after rotation. So right now, you could definitely be running an Agonjo and Otawara instead of a Plains and an Island. And then 2 copies of the Fomori Vault, and Fomori Vault being able to give you some really excellent dig based on the amount of artifacts that you control. And then we've got the Meticulous Archive, which was the Surveil land that will be still sticking around after rotation. I am going to be dropping the Deserted Beaches. The Deserted Beaches are going away, and that's actually one that would fit pretty well into this mid-range deck, because that's the one that's like the Azorius slow land, and since we're really wanting our untapped sources later in the game anyway, not really doing much on turn 1 and 2, it would be a really good deck for the Deserted Beaches, so that's going to hurt a little bit. So you could improve the mana base if you don't care about making it rotation proof from here. And then bringing in 1 copy of the Myosynth Gardens, being able to kind of fix for the Azorius space, but also become a target of non-token artifact that you control with mana value X. So it's another way that you can duplicate the Simulacrum Synthesizer and get a whole bunch of triggers off of that. And then just since we're getting rid of the Deserted Beaches and the Darker Waste and whatnot, I'm just running a bunch of basics. So we've got 24 lands to start. Might be a little bit on the low side for how... it's certainly the Burnosaurus list was on 25 because they were running it more as a control build, and if you were going to run it as more of a control build, then you'd want to get up towards 25, 26, maybe even 27 lands, depending on how bad missing a land drop is for the archetype. That being said, I did skip over some of the cards. I didn't really mention them, so if I didn't mention them, they were part of the Burnosaurus list before, and I kind of consider them to be core cards. You know, you've got like the Thousand Moon Smithy, the Might Stone and Weak Stone, the Thran Spider giving you the power stones when it comes into play. The Fabrication Foundry is a typical inclusion, being able to ramp as well as being able to play an artifact card from your graveyard. Yeah, just really, so enough rambling. I've spent way too long talking about this. This is definitely an exploration, and we'll see how it goes. So enjoy. All right, opponent is going first, but we have both colors of land, the Fomori Vaults, we've got the Fabrication Foundry, and the Simulacrum Synthesizer. And then we've got the Thran Spider. This looks pretty fantastic. Let's see how this goes. Oh, shoot. Up against mono red. Alright, well, it's going to be a very difficult matchup. So we get to do Simulacrum Synthesizer. The problem is that we're going to be dead. So this is what I was talking about with the running more Get Losts. So mono red is going to be an issue in this space, and since it's such a popular deck, and I don't think going away with Kumano faces Kakazan, it's a little bit of a problem. And this was actually the deck I was thinking about running, because it is good against Boros Convoke. Is the Boros Heroic build with the Twin Infernos. Covered that one, I think, in week 9 for my meta review. It's looking pretty good right now. Want to give it a shot. At least it was easy. Played 1 card and then lost. All right, so we've got Fabrication Foundry. If we hit... Oh no, this gives us the white. So we can do Fabrication Foundry into the Thousand Moon Smithy. We've also got Braided Net and Mightstone and Weakstone. Seems okay. Haven't played this deck enough to really figure out the mulligan for it. And looks like we're up against Boros Convoke. Now this should be a better matchup. Since we've got no turn 1 play, perfectly fine to do the Meticulous Archive. And then, do I want a Market Gnome? Sure. I think it's a cheap way to get another artifact count for the Thousand Moon Smithy, so it seems okay. We gotta try not to get run over here anyway. So they've got a Resolute Reinforcements. And then we've got, let's see, ooh, are they running the Lightning Helix? Or they get lost? Still think what I'm going to do here is do Island into Thousand Moon Smithy. And then Island into Mightstone and Weakstone, probably on one of their like Knight Errant Eos. Could do, let's see, so we've got a total of 4, so there's no way we double spell. We could tap down the Sanguine Evangelist, but since this is only a 2-1 and this is only a 2-1, I think I'm okay with just getting the Smithy down. Gives me a nice 4-4. We chillin'. So, ideally we want to be able to tap 5 things with this on the upkeep. So at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, so your first main phase, you may tap 5 untapped artifacts under creatures you control. If you do, you transform it into a land that whenever you cast an artifact or a creature spell, then it creates another artifact creature token. And oh my god, they're going wide though. So it's just like we're racing the bats essentially. Okay, so now here's the question. I could create a copy of the Thousand Moon Smithy. It's a legendary though, so I don't really want to do that. Thran Spider has reach, gives me a tapped Power Stone token. So I need 3 blue for this. I really wish I had 1 more mana. So we could do the Mightstone and Weakstone. Get rid of one of their Evangelists so they can't double pump next turn. We are still going to take a fair amount of damage. Now we're taking 3 damage in the air. That might have been wrong. Yeah, and I don't think I can really tap out here because if they have an Imidane's Recruiter, I'm just so dead. Shoot. Alright, well. This can block here. And this can block here. Gives them another flyer, but gets rid of their board pumps. I think I'm just dead. Okay, not off to a great start. Maybe I need to be running temporary lockdown for Boros Convoke. Alright, so we've got Market Gnome, and we've got Fabrication Foundry, and then we can just start slamming synthesizers. Seems okay. Oh, perfect draw. Now we just... And we have the white off of Fabrication Foundry. This is looking okay. Up against blue. Okay, so is this going to be our first control matchup? Maybe. Philology Archaeologist. This could be a combo deck. 3 steps ahead means they're going to get a cancel effect. Okay, I've got choices. I can do the Thousand Moon Smithy, or I can do the Simulacrum Synthesizer. But then I need the Smithy to get it down and play for the Synthesizer to trigger. I think I'd rather them counterspell this. Because if they just 3-mana pass here... Ooh, okay. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value X or less. That is a problem for this deck. That's too bad. Because they can sack this for X equals 0, and it destroys my gnome soldiers. For each non-land permanent with mana value X or less. So if they do this for 4, they just wipe my board? Dag nabbit. And again, 1 mana off of being able to hold up the 3 steps ahead. Since they're going to wipe anyway... Do I just pass here and try to do the Synthesizer after they wipe? I think I'm gonna go for 1, because like I need them to like feel forced to do the wipe. Not sure if I need the land or not. Actually, maybe it was right to just pass there. If I could get the Smithy into being a land instead, it wouldn't get destroyed here. Oof. Alright, let's see if we can rebuild. Oh, you don't say. It's a mirror match, huh? Mono blue artifacts. Okay. Call me interested. I guess my Fran Spider is not great for this situation. Oh my goodness, so it is, it's a mirror match. Shoot. Well, they're getting the 2 synthesizers was really good. So maybe it should be more of a control build. Silex? I hadn't thought about Silex. This doesn't even trigger anything, though. Maybe I'm supposed to do this? I think I'm just gonna lose. Why would it tap that way? I'd like to play my Fabrication Foundry. Ugh, okay, we're just getting outclassed. Because now they can make a copy of their synthesizer. What? You get 3 synthesizers in your top 15 cards? I haven't played up against a single artifact deck in over 200 games. And then as soon as I play an Azorius Artifact deck, I come up against one, right? Tell me there's something not funky going on there. But yeah, we're just so outclassed right now. I'm ready. I'm ready to just move on to the next one. So the Silex there was pretty big for them. And it also hit artifacts, so that was a good inclusion. I might need to consider that as an option. Okay, this time we don't have the ramp, but we do have synthesizer. We can trigger it off of playing Steel Seraph if we find white. And then we've got the unstable Glyph Bridge. Doesn't seem great, but we go for a nice 0-4. That feels okay. Skreld, okay. Skreld doesn't... Get Lost does not like to see Skreld. Coppercoat Vanguard. Okay. They attacked with Skrelv? Why would they attack with Skrelv there? Doesn't that seem wrong? Unless they are playing an Adeline and they wanted me to shoot the Coppercoat Vanguard? But, like, that doesn't feel great either. Just win through the toxic damage? Because this isn't going to actually create anything. Am I supposed to shoot Skrelv? Also, mono-white humans not playing anything on turn 3 is really weird. Resolute Reinforcements, maybe? Guess I'm gonna play the Simulac and Synthesizer, try to find white. Okay, Thran's Spider can trigger it. Still think I would rather find white, though. See, this gives me 4 mana, if we count the Power Stone. So then we can play this on 5 if we find a land, which we have here. So we don't even need to find it. Yeah, okay, so let's do this, play the Vault, then we go to Mightstone and Weakstone, and then hopefully Steel Seraph or Glyph Bridge if we ever find white. Seems like an odd matchup. Okay, so another Coppercoat Vanguard. Still attacking with the Skrelv. Also, not popping any of the map tokens. So this is a downside with the Get Lost, is that the Power Stones... You can pop a map token with the Power Stones. Anyway, so yeah, it was 350 matches. I haven't seen a single artifact deck. And then I play around with the idea of testing out Azorius Artifacts, and I bump into another artifact deck. It's stuff like that that makes me wonder about the matchmaking on Arena. Okay, Brutal Cathar gets rid of the token. Skrelv can't do colorless, right? Yeah, choose a color. I can, if I keep Skrelv there, I can do Glyph Bridge and leave the Skrelv behind. It's pretty tempting. We're really gonna need to find that white source, though. Also, what is this? Playing against a mono-white humans player who's a... I attacking me with Vanguard? And, like, attacking me with Skrelv? Some mistakes are being made. Alright. So this has Ward 1, which means I can't get rid of it. I also have to get rid of the Skrelv. If I do the Might Stone and Weak Stone, so that kind of sucks. I only have 1 white, too. So I can't do Fabrication Foundry and get lost. But Fabrication Foundry would allow me to Glyph Bridge next turn. I think I expected them to play this. Yeah, I think it's right. I have 4, but can't quite do anything with 4. So we're chilling. They play out the Sanguine Evangelist. You could attack me with the Brutal Cathar. Why do they keep hovering over the Vanguard? Yeah, you can't give it... It's not white. Okay. Interesting. Alright. Stuck on white a little bit this game, but... We even get rid of their bat? I guess I don't... Skrelv doesn't seem like that bad of a thing, although if I get rid of Skrelv, then maybe the Get Lost is better, because then they can't protect it from the... Oh, Might Stone and Weak Stone, though... Okay, Might Stone and Weak Stone doesn't actually... Skrelv can't protect it against Might Stone and Weak Stone, right? Wait, I think this is a good time to Glyph Bridge. Choose... So yeah, do we want them to have a bat and lose everything else, or do I want one less bat to deal with? And I think I'm going to keep the Skrelv. Okay. Are they new to the game? Like, can't do that, bro. Alright. Could craft with an artifact. Let's not do that, though. So we have 6-7 mana, though. I can just play the Steel Seraph and start gaining life. This seems pretty good. Play the Meticulous Archive out. Get rid of a land if it's on top. I think they're in trouble. Yeah, okay, so after playing against the Sylex, and, you know, it's a small sample size, but it's something to think about. This game was won because of Glyph Bridge, and I brought the Glyph Bridge down 1 from 4 to 3. And we played up against Mono Red, Boros Convoke, Humans, Mono White Humans, and then Mono Blue Artifacts. But anyway, it's something I'm going to be continuing to work off stream. Definitely not something where I'm like showcasing how amazing I am at Magic the Gathering. Part of it's just exploration, right? So I hope you enjoyed, and definitely an interesting space to play in. And if you like this sort of thing, I try to create Magic the Gathering content every day. and I go over a best of one meta review on Mondays, and do meta breakers like this one could have been a meta breaker list on Sunday. I'm also playing around with the idea of doing some sort of community deck thing where you guys submit deck lists that I go over. I'm not sure I'm going to play them, but certainly going to give them a look and kind of give you my thoughts on them. You know, I enjoy talking about Magic quite a bit, and from what I've seen, a lot of people actually like watching people talk about Magic more so than just playing games, right? I mean, because like the gameplay is kind of matchup dependent, and like unless you're the number one in the world or whatever, which I'm not. So anyway, just playing around with ideas and trying to spread the love for Magic the Gathering, a game I've enjoyed for over 30 years. So take care, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you on Saturday for the community deck. And so it's kind of confusing. I will see you Saturday for the one that won the vote on the poll, which is a meta breaker. I'll see you Sunday for the meta breakers, Monday for the best of one, best of three meta review, and then Tuesday will be for like community deck submissions. So those who have submitted their deck, I will be giving you my thoughts. At least on one of them, I'll probably pick one at random or cover it all. I know it really depends on how much time I want to spend on it. And yeah, this is a fun little hobby of mine, right? So I'm enjoying things. I'm enjoying life. And if you have anything you'd like to talk to me about what you think is working really well in the Azorius control or Azorius artifact space, let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing back from you guys. So you can always check out more content over here on the left. I have no idea what video it will be. I'll let YouTube choose the best one. And I'll catch you all tomorrow.